That was impressive, very quiet. So this is all being webcast, these sessions in this room. So just as an initial reminder, please could we have mobile phones on airplane mode? That would be appreciated. So good morning and welcome to Port Sunlight. I'm just going to say a few words of introduction to the day, including a video on safety, and then I'll hand over to Graham for the first of the main presentations. Now, we did want to give you as authentic experience of Port Sunlight as possible by offering you the chance to stay at Lord Lever's home, just as we did with the full board earlier this year. So for those of you who chose to stay there, congratulations on your hardiness. And spare a thought for my IR colleagues in the servants' quarters. So, welcome to Port Sunlight, or welcome back to some of you. I did check, and 15 of you were with us at the event we held here 8 years ago. Those of you who were here in 2008 may remember that it was the first year that Paul Polman attended, although at that stage he hadn't taken up the reins as CEO. Now we're back here today, I thought it would be appropriate to reflect back on the legacy of a remarkable man, a visionary, someone with a passionate belief that having a positive social impact could and should be an integral part of a successful business strategy. Now I can see some of you are wondering where I'm headed with this, and I know a few of my Unilever colleagues are looking distinctly uneasy, and Graham may be ready to call the disclosure committee, but I'm talking, of course, about Lord Lever, the man who created Port Sunlight, a model village that offered a new, safe, and hygienic way of living for his employees. He pioneered market development in the UK with new ways of thinking about brands, innovations, and new channels. He was also responsible, as an MP, for introducing the national state pension in the UK, as well as many other achievements. So we thought at the end of today, we'd give you each a souvenir of your visit. This recent biography, The King of Sunlight by Adam McQueen, it was actually the #1 pick in the Evening Standard top business books this summer, and it is a very entertaining read, as I can vouch. Now, my own association with Port Sunlight, by the way, goes back rather earlier than 2008. I was actually one of the first people to own a house in the village, and this was the house, 50 Park Road, on the Dell, just down the road. Now, before you think I'm entering the realms of science fiction and time travel, let me explain that this photograph was taken a few years before I bought it, so I'm not claiming to be either the man or the boy in the picture. In 1983, I came up here as a trainee to work on a project to replace the old manual ledgers with a computerized accounting system. At the time, the village, as well as the local power station, were owned by Unilever Merseyside Limited. And they'd just started selling them off. This, you may remember, was the time of Thatcherite privatization. So I bought this house. Anyway, enough nostalgia. This is very much a working factory and R&D center, as well as being a hub for our enterprise and technology solutions. You'll be visiting the factory and labs. Safety is the first priority for us, so I'd ask your attention to a short film which explains the safety procedures here at Port Sunlight. So can we see the video, please? Now, while we're on the subject of safety, please can I draw your attention to the usual safe harbor statement, particularly in respect of forward-looking statements. We will include this again at the start of Graham's presentation, but please take it as read for all of the presentations today. So this is the agenda for the day. This morning we'll be here in this room, starting with Graham, and then each of the 4 category presidents. All of these presentations will be webcast and available for download later. The charts for Graham's presentation will be available for download after he is finished, so there's no need to email the IR team in the meantime asking where they are. We'll break for an early lunch at around 11:45, and in the afternoon we'll be taking you around the factory and labs, including presentations from Mark Engel, Chief Supply Chain Officer, and David Blanchard, who heads up R&D. Then we'll return here for Paul's concluding presentation and Q&A, which will also be webcast. Finally, I'm delighted that we have Moraine Deckers, our new chairman, with us today. Moraine will say a few words during dinner, which will be at Thornton Manor, the ancestral home of Lord Lever. And for those of you staying there again tonight and missing the creature comforts of a modern hotel, I apologize, but would point out that Lord Lever and his wife actually slept in a special balcony outdoors, even in the winter, into their 80s. Now, we thought that might be a bit too much to expose you to, but if there are any volunteers who want to share that experience, do let us know. Now I'll hand over to our CFO, Graham Pitkethly. Graham.